The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, they oversee the National Weather Service, they oversee the National Hurricane Center. Their information is considered essential in terms of keeping people safe, for protecting property, and they've gained considerable trust over the years from the public. People rely on their forecasts and their warnings to make really critical decisions. They issued a statement that instead of siding with their forecasters at the National Weather Service, they sided with President Trump. It all started when President Trump tweeted that Alabama was at risk, a serious risk from Hurricane Dorian. At the time when he put this tweet out there, Hurricane Dorian was actually not even in the cone of uncertainty, which is the zone where forecasters predict the storm might track. So there was basically zero risk of substantial hurricane impacts in Alabama when President Trump made that claim. The Weather Service in Alabama, to clear the air, they issued a tweet because they had been getting questions from their constituents, from the public, wanting to know, is Alabama at risk? And they said absolutely not. But Trump, instead of admitting his mistake or admitting his error, he doubled down, and later in the week he issued new statements reiterating that Alabama was in fact at risk of the hurricane, even going as far as to modify the cone of uncertainty that was issued by the National Hurricane Center by extending that cone into southeast Alabama. And so he was basically doctoring an official National Hurricane Center product. Let me be clear here, this was a black and white issue. By the time that the National Weather Service corrected Trump on this issue on Sunday, there was no credible forecast model which showed Alabama at risk from this storm. When NOAA put out the statement siding with President Trump rather than its own scientists, the reaction from the meteorological community, from the atmospheric science community, from the weather community was one of outrage. They felt that NOAA should have had the weather services back and supported the Weather Service. Just recently, the acting chief scientist at NOAA, who is a career official, not a political official, spoke out and released an email to his staff saying that NOAA was wrong to issue that release, that it was a dangerous example of politics trumping science in this case. And he said that he is going to initiate an investigation as to how this release from NOAA, which sided with President Trump, how it came to be, because it is a breach of NOAA's scientific integrity policy.